Hey guys, today I'll show you the equipment I use for cutting firewood. So let me give you a little background of kind of, I guess, the usual cutting circumstances I'm kind of in. Most everything we cut is within a mile radius of our house for a couple of reasons. One being it just costs us less time and money to transport that firewood. It also helps minimize the spread of diseases with some of those trees. I know down in the cities they're having a real problem with the ash borer killing a lot of the ash trees. Also, you got stuff like oak wilt and some of the Dutch elm disease and stuff like that. So, you know, we want to minimize the risk of our trees getting damaged. Most of the trees we're after are all windblown trees and a handful of dead standing trees. So we're not ever cutting anything live, and of course we want trees around to be able to heat for many years, you know, for our grandkids to still be able to use. For the vehicle that I generally use, since most everything's within a mile, I'm usually using a four-wheeler with a trailer. On the occasion, we'll use a pickup truck because it's got 4x4 and our four-wheeler doesn't. And it also allows me to hook up the log splitter that we had just gotten. That log splitter flips into a vertical position, so a lot of times when I'm after, you know, some big huge round trees that I just can't get lifted into the pickup truck without getting it split up, I can drag that splitter out there, kind of creep it under there, get it split into manageable chunks, and then get it lifted into the back of the truck. You know, with the four-wheeler I only got one hitch, and that's used up for dragging the trailer to haul that wood around. So let's get into some of the actual physical equipment that I use. So I'm going out and cutting. These are kind of the bare essentials that I always carry with me. I carry this basket with my tools and fluids such as bar oil, gas, bug spray, etc. I always carry my split maul. I think it's around a 10-pound maul, so it's a little heavy, but I use that for kind of driving wedges when I need a little more oomph or leverage. Or sometimes I can even split up rounds that are a little big to help me get them up into the truck. And then I carry this steel saw quite a bit right now. It's kind of my go-to saw at the moment, but I also use a Johnson 520 SP, which is a pretty old saw, but really light and just got a lot of power as well. So sometimes I'll carry two saws just when I'm traveling a little further distance, just in case I pinch a saw, but you know, that's part of the reason I use those feller wedges quite a bit too, is to help prevent that. But every once in a while I get a little tired or a little lazy and don't think things through too much, and you could end up with a pinch saw from time to time here and there. So if I'm traveling a little further distance, I will carry an extra saw with me. Let's take a look in kind of my basket, and I'll show you guys what we got in there. So the first thing I always carry with me is a good pair of gloves. Just want a nice good leather pair. A lot of times you see like those kind of cotton gloves and stuff. Those just do not last and do not provide enough protection on your hands. You know, you're kind of getting your hands pinched in between logs and stuff from time to time, and exposed to big splinters and stuff like that. You just want a real good pair of gloves. I found that actually that these Carhartt gloves seem to work the best for me, and they're usually at a pretty reasonable price. I think they're about $8 a pair, and they just seem to hold up quite well. As long as you keep them dry, these things last quite a long time. I usually go through a couple pairs during the summer, but I just really enjoy these gloves. So I also carry a handful of tools and extra chains in these bags here. It's probably not the most ideal way to do it. I try to find a little bit more of a heavier duty or bag to kind of put that stuff in and rotate them every so often. I'm kind of looking like I'm going to need to do that, swap them out again here pretty quick. Now that it's garage sale season, I'll probably get out and look for a nice canvas bag or something to kind of put some of these tools in and kind of protect some of these things a little better. So I carry a couple extra chains with me. I try to either mark the bag or try to keep them in the original boxes so I know what size chains I have. You know, this one here is for actually my Johnson saw. You know, it's in a steel container. And then these are for my steel saw. also carry kind of a Leatherman knockoff that I had gotten for free. You know, you never know what you're going to need at times for tools. So kind of carry that with, and I'm not too much at a risk if it ends up getting lost at some point, just because it's something, you know, it's not my nice Leatherman that I like. And I also carry a handful of tools. Inside this bag I carry a permanent marker. So when I'm out in the field sharpening, I can mark the tooth that I start with, so I know that I'm not sharpening a tooth more than once as I kind of go through it. Also carry my file, and I'm pretty fortunate where both my saws actually use the same round file, and try to sharpen, you know, every gas tank fill, or sometimes even more depending on the type of wood that I'm cutting. Also carry my, I guess they call it a scrench. It's kind of an all-in-one tool for the chainsaw. It's got a little thing here for loosening the chain. It also has got a flathead so I can tighten the chain. And it also works out great, you know, so if you wanted to service your air filter. You could, you know, remove your air filter as well out there in the field. So it's just kind of a nice all-around tool for your chainsaw. And then the last thing I carry with me is just a little pick. I don't know if this is the most ideal thing for this or not, but I carry a little pick with me. So when I'm, you know, out sharpening, or say I replace my chain, on the actual bar itself, there's some areas you got to make sure that are cleared out. You know, there's little holes that help feed this bar with oil, so you got to make sure those are cleaned out. And then it's real nice to kind of clean your bar out as you do that as well. So that's another thing that I usually carry with me. So one thing I find very useful is a little hatchet. And then of course I got a little belt holder, so I can always throw that on my hip. I use this quite a bit for driving wedges and stuff to help prevent my bar from getting pinched, and also for when I'm falling some trees. I can drive these in, and sometimes the hatchet, I guess, isn't quite enough. So that's where I use my splitting maul, but I find this quite a very valuable tool to carry with. And if I'm out there splitting firewood as well, to get them into smaller chunks, sometimes you get some real stringy stuff, and this comes in real handy for kind of breaking those apart. I carry paint with me. Usually for the fall time, I'll carry a marking paint so I can mark my trees that I plan to cut throughout the winter. That way, you know, when the leaves drop, I know I'm still cutting a dead tree, since they all kind of look the same at that point. And a lot of times I also carry another paint as well. I forget what they call it. It's for kind of protecting trees. So let's say you're dragging some stuff out and you end up ripping the bark off of a tree. It kind of puts it at risk. You know, it's kind of its protective layer. And I'll be able to mark that up. Especially cutting it all if I'm in the woods this time of year. You know, anywhere near oak trees and stuff, you really want to minimize your risk of kind of dinging those trees up, because it really kind of puts them at risk for the spread of oak wilt and stuff. I carry a bunch of these, they're almost like plastic, like Palmer type wedges, and of course that's used to drive into the tree to help fall them. Also prevent the bar from getting pinched, and then of course them being this material here, they if you end up nicking them with your saw, you're not going to end up wrecking your chain. They're really a valuable tool. Don't expect to be splitting any, you know, logs with these like a metal splitting wedge, but very essential tool. I also carry an assortment of old gloves. I kind of wear the fingers out in a lot of these, but just like to have them just in case I misplace my gloves while I'm out there on a hard day. kind of mix and match and make some stuff work. Also carry some bug spray. I haven't found this stuff to do the best job for keeping ticks off you, but it sure keeps the mosquitoes off. Also carry some hearing protection. Never been really a guy that's been real into the safety equipment. But as I kind of age and the years of hunting and running some loud equipment, I'm starting to realize the importance of it. So if you guys are pretty young, I would really recommend some hearing protection. It's a pretty valuable thing. You know, your vision and your sight is pretty big. Safety glasses is another thing, which I do usually keep in the truck or with my other equipment. Fishing at that. Also carry, you know, a gallon of bar oil and usually a gallon of my mixed gas. So there are two other tools that I wish I had. I'm still working on kind of accumulating them. One is chainsaw chaps. That'll probably be something I purchase here real quick. If you do a quick search on Google in the images and just search for chainsaw injuries, you'll get a real quick idea on why they're such an important safety equipment. I know, you know, a lot of times I go out and I'll put a full day in of cutting wood and stuff, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm kind of getting a little lazy and a little tired, and it's a little easy to make a mistake. So it's definitely something I want to add in my arsenal here real quick before I start kind of really getting cutting this year. I'm probably going to go out and pick up a pair of those. The one other thing I'd really like to get my hands on, I've been kind of watching the garage sales and stuff to see if I can find one to restore, is an old peavy or cant hook, or I think they call them cantalooms. They basically allow you to kind of roll logs and stuff like that. One of the neighbors let me borrow one day, and boy, I didn't realize what a valuable tool that was until kind of getting my hands on one and realizing how nice that is. You know, obviously you want to keep your chain out of the dirt, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll cut, you know, most of the way through the log and then roll the log and then finish the rest of my cut. With that type of tool, it's just, man, you can roll some huge logs with very little effort. It also kind of works nice for splitting logs that are, you know, when I got that splitter in that vertical position, I can kind of hold it and push them back if they want to kind of tilt away and kind of pinpoint that stuff. So, you know, this isn't like the kit, you know, that you have to carry. These are just tools that I have found that work quite well for me. Always kind of changing, swapping stuff out and experimenting with different things. But right now, that's kind of what's in my woodcutter kit. If you guys got other stuff that you guys always carry with you, let me know about it. I'd be kind of interested. You know, I'm always looking to pick up some new stuff, and I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what I use. So if you guys found this video useful, let me know by clicking the thumbs up and subscribing. Thanks for watching.